Hello everybody, this is Varsha Kulkarni. I'm from Darwin Academy. Today let's look at the second chapter in grade 9 NCERT curriculum, that is with respect to biology, and slowly I'll talk to you about what the topic is. But before going into that, I hope all of you have had a look at my previous video or a series of videos about the first chapter in biology for grade 9. All right. I hope all of you are ready with your book and a sheet of, or either a sheet of paper and something to jot down with. All right. So now let me start off with a first question. You already know what a cell is from the previous chapter, of course. Now, have you had a thought of what would happen if too many cells which have the same function and have the similar structure come together? So, this group of tissues which have similar structure and they have the same job to perform forms the tissues. So, that is today's topic, that is tissues. All right. So, we have already understood what tissues are. Let me repeat that for you. Tissue is a group of cells which have similar structure and work towards achieving a common function. All right. As we see organisms becoming more complex, we see many tissues in such organisms. Okay. Now let me start off with a simple example. We have already heard a lot about amoeba, isn't it? Amoeba is a single cell organism, right? And a single cell will perform all the activities that happens within the organism here. Okay. But take a human being for example. We have millions of such cells and there are different groups of such cells which have taken the ownership to do a specific task. So that means to say we have many tissues which work towards achieving a specific goal. There is division of labor in complex organisms because the size of the animal is huge, the size of the organism might be huge, be it a multicellular plant or an animal, the size is huge, so there are many cells. All cells need not have to do all activities. They will be having specific job to perform. That's the reason a multicellular organism has many tissues when compared to a single cellular organism or a unicellular organism like amoeba. Coming back to amoeba here, amoeba, like I mentioned, has one cell. The same cell will help digest the food, will help excrete the food, and so on and so forth. So, a single cell in amoeba takes up all the functions necessary for the survival of the organism. But that is not the case in case of higher organisms. I have already told you the reason, right? And I have another question for you now. Do you think that the tissues which we as animals have is the same as that of the plant tissues? To put this question in a simple statement or simple question or simplify it for you, I am asking you if the type of tissues present in plants and animals are the same. You may think about it. I hope you have started thinking about the answer. If you have arrived at the answer, then let me tell you that no, the tissues within animals and plants are not the same. But why should it be like that? It is because if you notice, the plants have a very different kind of a life. They stay in one place, they don't move around. Unlike we as human beings, we keep moving around. So, our energy requirement is also very high when compared to our plants, isn't it? Do you all agree with me? Okay, I hope you do all. So, like I have been mentioning, plants have their own set of needs whereas animals have their own set of jobs to perform, work to do. All right, be it a human being, be it a dog, be it a cat or a tiger or whatever. Okay, so we can't, as animals, we can't have the same type of tissues as that in the plants. So, we are going to study the tissues mainly categorized into two headings. The first one is the plant tissues, and the second one being, of course, most of you would have guessed it by now, animal tissues. In this video, I'm giving you a quick overview of the chapter so that you know what is coming your way. Okay. So, under the topic plant tissues, we will be looking at again two categories. The first one being meristematic tissues, and the second type being the permanent tissues. Again, the permanent tissues are classified into simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Okay, so let me quickly take you through what we are going to study under the topic tissues. We are looking at plant tissues and animal tissues. In the plant tissues, specifically, we'll be looking at what meristematic tissues are, where they are found, what are their types, so on and so forth. And the second bit of plant tissues that we'll be looking at is the permanent tissues. Among them, mainly looking into types of simple permanent tissues and types of complex permanent tissues. Animal tissues, we are more interested in four types of animal tissues. The first one being epithelial tissue, next connective tissue, followed by muscular tissue, and a small bit about the fourth type, that is the nervous tissue. All right, is this clear for all of you? So this is the, or these are the main aspects that we'll be covering under the heading tissues, and whatever I'm discussing is in accordance with your grade 9 NCERT curriculum. Okay, so I have already discussed what tissues are, okay, and why there has to be distinction between plant, or why we have different tissues in plants and animals. And also, one more aspect or one more point which I had skipped telling you why plant tissues are different to animals is because of the requirement. Plant keeps growing throughout their life, right? But animals don't grow throughout their life, isn't it? That's also one more aspect or one more point why plant and animal tissues are different, and as so are our needs. First and foremost, in the plant tissues is the meristematic tissues.